We are looking at more vocabulary, ladies and gentlemen, today. Today we are talking about parallel lines and transversals. And when we have parallel lines, again, we get some special vocabulary, some special words, and we want to know what those words mean. But also when we have parallel lines, some very special things happen with angles. So this is kind of interesting. All right. Okay. So here we have a picture of parallel lines, and they have this little arrow on them right here, and those little arrows are special symbols in math that indicate that they're parallel. All right. So what do parallel lines mean? What are parallel lines? They're parallel. What does that mean? They never intersect. They never touch. Okay, so they are parallel. Two lines that never intersect. Two lines that never intersect are called parallel lines. So we have two parallel lines. The arrows on the lines indicate that they are parallel. That's what these little arrows mean. That's their symbol for parallel. These little arrows. A line that intersects, T-E-R-S-E-C-T-S, a line that intersects two or more lines is called a transversal. Trans means like across. There used to be an airline called Transamerica. It means to go across, so all the way across. So here, this line right here is line T, and this is a transversal because it's crossing my two parallel lines. So that red line T right there is a transversal. In the diagram to the left, L is parallel to M. This is how we write that. These two little lines right next to each other means parallel. L is parallel. We learn a lot of shorthand in geometry because there's a lot of writing, so we want to figure out the shortest ways to write things. Mathematicians are ultimately just lazy, all right, which is cool because you learn how to write things really shorthand. And the transversal is T, line T. So we have L parallel to M, and then transversal is line T. So we have some special angle pairs that have to do with parallel lines. So all of these are special angle pair names that we want to make sure that we know really, really well. So first we're going to talk about corresponding angles. And I think these are the most important ones. If you know corresponding angles, we can figure out everything else pretty easily. It turns out that corresponding angles are in the same position in relation to that transversal. And these angles are always congruent. They are always congruent. And congruent means what? What does congruent mean? It's a little more than equal. They are equal. They are the same. So, looking in this picture, we want to be able to identify corresponding angles. Corresponding means they're in the same relative position. So, for instance, if I look at angle number 1, when I look at angle number 1, I see that it's sort of in the top left position. Do you see that it's in like a top left position? Does that make sense to you? Okay. Where else? What other angle's in a top left position? 5. Yep. Angle 1 is congruent to angle 5. Those are corresponding angles. They are in the similar position. So give me another pair that are in a similar position. 2 and 6. Angle 2 is congruent to angle 6. Give me another pair in a similar position. 8 and 4, yes. Angle 8 is congruent to angle 4. They're in that lower left position. Do you see that? So 8 and 4, I'm going to color those like here's a 4 and 8. Those are both in that lower left position. All right, what's another pair of congruent angles? 3 and 7, yep. So angle 3 is congruent to angle 7. If you can recognize corresponding angles, ladies and gentlemen, then that is fantastic, and that'll get us everything we need to know. Corresponding angles are congruent. They are the same exact measure, which is kind of nice. So those are corresponding angles. They're in a similar position. All right. Let's see. I wish I didn't have to talk about anything else. Frankly, we can answer all the rest of the questions without knowing anything else. Oh, well, I'll keep going. Okay. We have some other names, other special names. Alternate interior angles. Alternate interior are inside the parallel lines and on opposite sides of the transversal. These angles are always congruent as well. Alternate interior. Okay, alternate interior. So we are in between the parallel lines. So we're in between the parallel lines. And they're on alternating sides. So alternate interior. So angle 4. And what other angle is its alternate interior angle pair? Angle 6, yeah. Angle 4 is congruent to angle 6. These would be called alternate interior. Do you see how they're on the interior? In between? And they're alternating on alternate sides? Does that make sense to you? No? I mean, if you don't understand Linux, I'll re-explain. But if you're just being stupid, then that's stupid. Oh, okay. All right. All right. What's another pair of alternate interior angles? 3 and 5. Very good. Yeah, angle 3 and angle 5 are also called alternate interior angle. Angle 3 is congruent to angle 5. Alternate interior. If we have alternate interior, then we also have alternate exterior angles. Alternate exterior angles. Give me, what do you think alternate exterior? Hello. Oh, thank you. Ooh, what are these? Ooh. Nerds Gummy Clusters. These are like the best. Piper is not here today. Okay. Yep. Thank you. Hey. All right. What do you think give me an alternate exterior pair. Alternating and exterior. What do you think? 1 and 7. Very good. Yeah. Alternate exterior. So they're outside those parallel lines. They're on the outsides of the parallel lines, and they're on opposite sides. So angle 1 is congruent to angle 7 because they are also congruent. Those are an alternate exterior pair. What's another alternate exterior pair? Yeah, 2 and 8. Angle 2 is congruent to angle 8. They would be called alternate exterior. Okay. Okay. Those are the 3 big names. So we have corresponding, alternate interior, alternate exterior, which I think those names are pretty explicit. Like it's pretty clear. All right. Here we have consecutive interior. Consecutive interior angles are on the same side of the transversal and inside the parallel lines. Consecutive means one right after the other, and they're on the same side and in between the parallel lines. What do you think a pair of consecutive interior angles would be? 4 and 5, yeah. So 4 and 5 are consecutive interior angles. Now it turns out these are the only ones that are different. Okay? These are on the same side. When they're on that same side like this, right after each other, like that consecutive interior, they are supplementary. And what does supplementary mean? Yeah, they equal 180 degrees, okay? So it turns out that the measure of angle 4 plus whatever the measure of angle 5 is going to equal 180 degrees. So these are called consecutive interior angles. They also might be called same side interior. So they're in between, they're on the same side. What's another pair of consecutive interior? Yeah, 3 and 6. Yep, so the measure of angle 3 plus the measure of angle 6 is also going to be 180 degrees. So they are supplementary. Okay, so those are all the special angle names, you guys. I think most of them are pretty explicit, so that's kind of nice. So using the diagram to the left, classify each angle pair and indicate whether they are congruent or supplementary. So let's go through this. Angle 1 and angle 5. Angle 1 and angle 5. What special name are those? Alternate exterior. Very good. Yep, here's our little parallel lines. So they are on the exterior. They're on the outsides of the parallel lines. So these are called alternate exterior angles. Are they congruent or supplementary? Congruent. Very good. Let's just go straight down the line. What about angle 2 and angle 3? What are those? Yeah, very good. Angle 2 and angle 3. They're in between the parallel lines, and they're right in a row. That's consecutive. So consecutive interior angles. Are those congruent or supplementary? Supplementary. Very good. And you can abbreviate, just like I did, consecutive interior, consec-int. We can abbreviate for sure. All right. What about angle 2 and angle 4? Very good. Angle 2 and angle 4, those are corresponding. Very good. Yeah, they are corresponding. Corresponding angles, are they congruent or supplementary? Congruent. Very good. All right, and then let's see. What about angle 2 and angle 6? Yeah, so angle 2 and angle 6, they're on alternate sides, and they're in between the parallel lines. So that's alternate interior angles. Are they congruent or supplementary? Congruent. Yeah, the consecutive interior one is the only one that's supplementary. Okay. All right, questions so far? All right, now we get to the mathy part. Finding angle measures. So this is where it becomes pretty cool. First of all, we want to find each angle measure, and we want to know what we're given. Given P is parallel to Q. Very important. This only works when we have parallel lines. So we have to make sure that we have parallel lines. Now it says the measure of angle 1 equals 68 degrees. So I'm going to go ahead and mark in there 68 degrees right here at angle number 1. And instead of answering all these questions, I want to just fill in the picture, ladies and gentlemen. So let's just fill in the picture. Angle 1 is corresponding to which angle? Angle 1 corresponds with? Angle 5. Very good. Angle 1 corresponds with angle 5. If you know corresponding angles are congruent. Corresponding angles are congruent. That is my favorite one. If you can recognize corresponding angles are congruent. Everything else you can get from here on out, okay? If this angle 1 is 68, what's angle 4? Also 68. Why is angle 4 also 68 degrees? Directly across. Those are vertical angles. Yeah, vertical angles. Vertical angles are congruent as well. So we have the same information we're using from last week, or yesterday anyway. What's angle 8? Also 68 for a lot of reasons. It's vertical with angle 5, but also these are in corresponding positions, right? Okay. So how can we figure out the measure of angle 2? Subtract from 180. Very good. Yeah, we have right here, this whole angle we know is 180 degrees. The straight angle is 180 degrees. We have 68 of it. So how do we figure out angle 2? Subtract 68. 180 minus 68 degrees equals 112. Very good. So this angle 2 is 112. If angle 2 is 112, what else is 112? 3, 6, and 7. Very good. 3, 6, 7. All right. So why is angle 6 also 112? Corresponding that with angle 2 and angle 6 are corresponding. So, and then here we have vertical angles right there. So, super easy. Do I have to fill in over here? Do you think my picture is okay? I kind of think the picture is just fine for the most part. Okay. Will you guys go ahead? I'll start you up here on number 2 and 3, but I want you guys to work on 2 and 3. So J is parallel to K. So first I have parallel lines. That's really important that we recognize the parallel lines. And the measure of angle 7 is 134. So this is 134 degrees. Ladies and gentlemen, will you please do number 2 and 3? So again, number 3, we've got parallel lines, and the measure of angle 8 is 97 degrees. Go ahead and work out the rest of those real fast. I'll give you a couple of minutes to check with your neighbor, doing number 2 and number 3. Fill in the picture. Fill in the picture. Are you done yet? Not quite.
No, I was in their house because I was like filling in the notes.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Thank you for taking them. Check with your neighbor. Do you recognize the patterns that are happening? Well, it's patterns, right? Pretty easy. All right. Super. Okay. So, did you get 46 and 134s across the board? Yeah? Okay. And then did you get 83s and 97s across the board? Okay. Super easy to fill in these pictures, I think. And you'll notice here that when we add our consecutive interior angles, 97 plus 83 is 180 degrees. So consecutive interior angles are supplementary. But really, if you know corresponding angles, you're good to go. All right? So I think that, corresponding is my favorite. Corresponding angles are congruent. Okay, let's look at 4 and I think then from there, we're probably good to go here. So in this picture given to us, what we know is that angle W is parallel to angle V. So we have our parallel lines. And how many transversals do we have? 2 transversals, yeah. So I think the best way to do this is sort of just to cover up one of them. So I'm just going to cover up one of my transversals so that I can focus in on just one of those transversals. Now you'll notice here we have the 104 degrees. Ladies and gentlemen, what other angles also are going to be 104 degrees? 9. What else? 12 and 13. Good. 104 and 104. Again, that we have these corresponding angles that are always congruent. So those are nice to know. And then everything else by vertical angles. How are we going to figure out the measure of angle 8? Minus from 180. Yeah, so 180 minus 104 degrees is what? 76. So angle 8 is 76 degrees. And if we know that that's 76, what else is 76? 10, 11, and 14. Beautiful. 76, 76, 76. I just like writing them in right there. I think that's the easiest thing to do, ladies and gentlemen. Draw in your pictures, okay? Now that we know that, we've figured out one of these transversals. I can go ahead and cover that up. Will you take a second and figure out, we have this 59-degree angle right here. Take 1 minute and figure out what else is 59. All right, what are the other angles that are 59? Yeah, 6, 3, and 2 are all 59. 59 and 59 degrees. All right, beautiful. And then how can I figure out angle 7? Yeah, so 180 minus the 59 degrees, and what does that give me? 121, yeah. 121 degrees, which is going to be number 5, number 4, and number 1. That's 121. Is this easy or hard? It's pretty easy, right? Kind of nice, yeah? All right. I think that's good. You think that's good? I think we can go from there. All right, you guys are going to have a delta math to do.